So I know you've talked about adding kind of extra shooting practices, and you've seen the shooting kind of really come around in these last few games. Can you just explain what you've kind of added and how you think it's helped?
Well, we do a lot of shooting as it is. We just made it mandatory and nothing exceptional other than we had a basic shooting routine that we do every day that where they're getting up between 400 and 500 shots. And it's not just shooting. There's mechanical stuff, game shots. So it's just, and the coaches have done a great job making sure the guys have been doing it and in between their schedules. And, we believe that's really helped us.
And do you think, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about chemistry with this team this season and trying to find it. Do you think it's really starting to form here in these last few games?
Well, I think it's definitely been a lot better than it was. It's still a long way to go, but the kids are sharing it. They're playing more connected. There's more extra passes. There's more belief in each other, and that's what you usually do during the season. And it's gotten a lot better for sure, but still a long way to go.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome, Lauren.
Percy, go ahead, Percy.
Hey, Hop.
Oh,
Thanks.
Percy, how are you?
Good. Hey, I'm just going back to the last game, and I'm still curious about Mr. Jamal Bay and just what's changed for him and just his career at Washington. Do you think you have a handle on his offensive game? What is it that he does well offensively? Because I'm still trying to figure that out.
Well, you can see you have a guy who can score on all three levels. He's finishing way better than he ever has, taking the ball to the basket. He's a really good foul shooter, so that's a good thing. We've been posting him up, which is around the basket. He's got a really good mid-range shot, and he's been shooting just unbelievable from the three-point line. And I think with him, it's just, everybody, comes out of their shell at a certain period. And you've seen it. We've seen it a lot of times in practice with a lot of these guys, but definitely Jamal, you've seen the potential. And, you just kind of keep having to, have those nights out and, can you have that big game? And he was playing really well up to that point, and he just exploded. And that's what great players do. That's what players that work on their game, that they keep believing, they keep doing their mental training, physical training. And, so really proud of them. That's what this coaching thing is all about, is seeing these guys start to reach their potential for sure.
Hey, after you saw the film of that game, obviously we spoke to you that night and it was so immediate, but after watching the film, was there anything more that you appreciated about his performance?
I think the biggest thing was the stops at the end, the defensive play. We showed the team a clip of our huddling. I think his leadership, after every foul shot or what, you'll see connection and huddle. And he's starting to really become a great leader. And we had to, there was a possession, it was 2 in the game, and he comes back and we have this angle of the film and he's just high-fiving his teammates saying, "Let's go, we got to get these stops. We got to get this stop." And you could see the excitement from each player and that focus. And that's it's the basketball part's one of the things, but the leadership and that commitment and giving my energy to somebody else is what I have really seen him grown with, especially in the last 4 or 5 games for sure.
Yep. Awesome, Hop. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Chris Fetters, go ahead, Chris.
Hey, Hop, appreciate you doing this. I was curious about the defensive side of things, and we've seen more switching with man, and I've seen even something that would maybe resemble a box and one with you guys maybe being more man on in that hole at the top of the key, and with the high post stuff that goes on. And I'm just kind of curious how you're kind of assessing things with the zone right now and finding that balance and trying to maybe throw a little bit of junk at teams from time to time to keep them honest.
Well, the whole idea is, how do you beat this team? And, defensively, we've struggled. We've had a lot of new players in the zone. We're struggling rebounding wise. You're always trying to evolve and how can it get better? And this team might not be able to play the way that the last couple teams have been able to play. We're different. different size, different positions, different experience. And so we've tried to be creative, the staff and we, have come up with certain wrinkles, different things that it might help us versus this team. So it's more going to be a scouting report piece. It's not one thing. It could be a multitude of things. And, it's not what we know, it's what we can get the guys to know. And I think what we can get them to do. And I think they've been really excited, even though the numbers haven't shown major improvement. You can see the excitement of our players. And the one thing I will tell you, the big, most probably best stat in the last couple of games is we haven't put teams on the free throw line a lot. And that's a huge stat. Being able to defend without fouling and forcing them to make shots. So I think that's some of our adjustments have made. We've been a better rebounding team. We haven't fouled as much. And in one or a couple of the games, we've done a decent job on the 3-point line.
Also, I was curious, sticking with the defensive side again, and especially on the inside. I know after like the Bay Area trip, you had talked about how you were really frustrated because I think you termed it getting sliced up inside.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you just talked about the rebounding piece being such a big part, but can you talk about a couple of key points that you feel like you've really improved on inside that have maybe helped?
Well, I think some of our adjustments we've made has allowed our guys to be in better positions. I'm not going to get tactical with you for our opponents, but we put them in better positions. There's still a few possessions where you've got the offensive team has better offensive rebounding position in terms of where we are on the court and where they are. But for the most part, we've put ourselves in better position, and that's a couple minor adjustments that we've had to make. And that's where I think the rebounding, you have more of a fair fight. If you're 6'3" and I'm over there fighting against a 6'8" guy, and that 6'8" guy has inside position on me, that's not a good strategic winning situation. But if I'm 6'3" and athletic and I can get into your body and I can be inside of you while pushing you out, like I might get over the back, there's more resistance. And so that's where, Chris, I think we've seen, a couple of the adjustments that we've made. We've been in better defensive rebounding position.
Last one for me is has to do a little bit more with confidence and aggressiveness, and just, you can see it on the offensive side. When you start making shots, obviously the confidence grows and you're getting, it just seems like it spills over. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering for you, what's your opinion on how that affects things defensively when guys are just feeling confident and they're making shots? Where do you see that spill over?
Well, the last 3 or 4 games, if the confidence making shots, we would have been the best defensive team in America.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. But, it does play a part. There's no getting around it. And, when you're playing confident, I think the thing is you have individual confidence and then you have collective confidence. And the thing that when Percy had asked that question earlier about Jamal Bay, he's a really good defensive player, and he was bringing them together collectively. Like, we need to get this. We need to get this stopping. We need to take responsibility, and that's each individual and then collectively. And so, that confidence thing is real. Belief is real. And it doesn't matter what you're telling these guys. If they believe it, it's going to be better. And they're believing. And so I think that's the biggest factor for sure.
Great. Thanks, Hop.
You're welcome, Chris.
Mike, typically you would have different guys lead your team in scoring. You've not only had that, you've had 4 different guys score 26 points or more in the last month. That's kind of like almost NBA stuff. Could you talk about guys that, having so many guys that are realizing that they can have their night and really light it up?
You know what, Dan, that's a great question, because it's to have that's rare. I don't remember another team that we've had that in the 4 years that we've been here. But it's great. It's great to know that you can take somebody off the bench that can get over 20 points and get hot if he's, playing well and having good practices. It's know that if someone gets in foul trouble, you can still figure out how to score some points. And that's what we were struggling with so much, earlier in the year. But I think really, coming down with having a good rotation, having guys being able to play multiple positions, Another thing is when you have to go small to have the guys who can score on the court, the adjustments that we've made defensively have helped in that cause of being small. And, I'm just, like you said, it's a luxury to have that, and to have 4 guys can do it. Now it just goes back to knowing that you can get not necessarily those types of points, but consistent scoring at those positions every night. That's when you're really making headway as a team, for sure, offensively.
Yep. Hey, Hop, a question for you. If we take the premise practice makes perfect, how have the guys been practicing? Has there been a shift in the way they've been practicing, offense and defense, and attention to detail?
You know what, Maz? We've just been really trying to we've simplified, our how we play, and we're trying to simplify how we practice, being just very consistent, very routine. And a couple of those things that I talked about before, the 3 areas that we've been trying to improve, we measure it, we work on it every day, and we just try to get better every day at those things, progress, not perfection. And that's where I think, sometimes, if, the guy who I coached with, an assistant coach for years, Jim Boeheim, is arguably one of the greatest coaches of all time. You could go to a practice today, and you could have gone to a practice 25 years ago, and you could have said, okay, you did groups, then 2 lines, then 3 lines. It's structurally built that way. And I feel like we've gotten into a sweet spot of what our practices look like every day, where the guys are comfortable. They know we're developing, we're not wasting any time. And in those 3 areas, we're going to improve. And so I think that's helped us as well.
On the defending without fouling, is that now the recognition of where to be and getting there in the games? Is that part of where that's showing up?
Maz, what's interesting is with our zone, the original rules and some of the things, we were having to cover a lot of space, and we might not have been as athletic as we've been in the past, or long. And sometimes you can really get out of position. And when you're out of position, can also force you to foul by your positioning. And also that goes back to when you're in better position and you're proactive and you're more disciplined in your approach, you're going to be less prone to foul. It's position. And so our guys, we've made it a priority, where focus goes, energy grows. And that's been one of the things the coaching staff is on our guys every day, about defending without fouling, playing with your hands up, forcing them to shoot tough shots over you, not around you, not through you. And, the guys we're still not perfect at it. We still make mistakes, but we're getting better.
Thank you.
Question, Percy. Go ahead, Percy.
Awesome. Hey, Coach, I forgot to ask you about just the game on Sunday. Quick look at the Cougars here. They had your number last year. They got off to a really hot start this year, but they've lost the past 6 games. Just maybe a quick sort of scouting report on them.
Well, they've obviously got an incredible backcourt. They got a really, really good basketball coach who has them believing. And they beat us twice last year. It's to represent the state of Washington, having the Cougars being really good, and us trying to be a great team. It's great for Washington State basketball. And we have a lot of respect for them. I have a lot of respect for the coach. I've known Kyle for a long time. Jimmy Shaw, their coaching staff, they do a great job. And it's great for the state to have 2 teams that compete at a high level and have a lot of respect for each other.